Hi, everyone. This is Deborah Bailey, and I want to welcome you to Women Entrepreneurs, The Secrets of Success on Blog Talk Radio. I'm your host. I'm Deborah Bailey. I'm a career and life coach and the owner of Deb Bailey Coaching. And my guest is going to be Elena Camp today. Elena, are you there?
I am.
Hi, Elena. I'm so glad to hear you. This is my first show. I'm so happy to have Elena here. And just running through all the fun little technical details to start the show. So I gave her a couple of phone numbers to call in, but we've got it worked out now. So let me just go on and introduce Elena. And she is of Pure Vibrations, LLC. Elena's mission is to help her clients achieve the awareness of their personal power. She teaches practical tools and processes to help them leverage spiritual laws and principles to create joyful and abundant lives. And I'm so happy to welcome Elena here. How are you doing today?
I'm great, Deborah. I'm great.
That's wonderful. Elena, I also wanted to add that Elena does wonderful teleclasses, and I listened into one she had last night about manifesting, and it was just fantastic. So I really hope that you will visit her at her site, elenacamp.com, and see what else she offers, because I was really excited to hear the information she shared last night. So, Elena, let's get started. Why don't you tell me a bit about yourself and your business?
Okay. Well, like you mentioned, my business is really about teaching spiritually minded people spiritual principles and laws so they can leverage these laws and create the lives they desire deliberately and intentionally. And I call myself a law of attraction trainer and an energy guide because really what I'm doing is helping people create that awareness, like you said, that everything is energy, including our thoughts and our feelings. And if you can master your thought life and guide your emotions, you really can become a master at manifesting or attracting the things or qualities you want to experience in your life.
Mm-hmm. And tell me, how did you get started with this?
Oh, it's kind of a long story, but I really got exposed to the world of energy and vibration and metaphysics several years back when I went to healing arts school, and I had no idea that the program I went to learn massage and body work would expose me to all these other great areas that really complemented my studies. And so that's really how I got introduced to it at that point. And I started reading books on law of attraction and metaphysics, and I went through a period in my life where things were not working as well as I liked, and I just knew there was a better way. There was something I was missing. So as I continued to pursue, this knowledge, I really attracted a lot of great resources to myself, and I started sharing them with friends and family members, and I found myself coaching people, and so my business kind of developed really organically, and I started not with the intention initially to create a business from it, but I was so passionate about it and loved it that I had some friends that really encouraged me to take that step. So that's really how it got started.
Wow. And how long have you been in business?
I've been in business for a year now, a little over a year officially, and things have moved really, really fast for me. Because I do know these principles, I'm able to really focus and close the gap for, the areas that I want to pursue. And so things have moved really, really fast. It's very exciting. So
That's great. I know a lot of listeners and, people that I really am hoping get a lot of motivation from this are people who may be in a position right now where they want to start a business and they don't know how to begin, or they don't know if they could ever do it. And just wondering, were you ever in a situation where you felt that you could not have this type of life, where you couldn't even dream that you'd be where you are right now?
Yeah, I think, that's probably just a pervasive belief that, there's a certain path that you have to take, and I think most people kind of feel like, I got to go to college and go work for someone else, and, if that's what your parents did or, other people in your life, I think it really takes some type of divine, intervention for you to really understand that you really can create your own path, and that we all came here to, with a special, unique contribution to make to the world that no one else can. And so, initially, I did, start to feel like, okay, there's got to be something else, but how do I get there? And so, I started from that framework that, this is what I'm supposed to do, but I was restless and I wasn't fulfilled. And so that really kind of fueled my desire to pursue, my interests and passions.
Mm-hmm. So you could say that you were led along this path by the things that happened to you along the way?
Yeah, it's so funny because when I went to Healing Arts program, I had a full-time job doing pharmaceutical sales, and it paid very well, but I just knew there was something more. And so I went to Healing Arts program, and I took a job share position with my company, and I'm a single parent, but I thought, okay, I can make this work. And unfortunately, I didn't know what I know now then. I didn't really have a robust plan in place, and so I went through a really tough time. I ended up, going through foreclosure and losing my home, and, it was a very difficult process. And, going through that, I knew that there was something that I was missing. And so that really motivated me to look for these answers to make my life work, because I knew it could. I just knew that there was some wisdom and knowledge that I was missing. And so I really want to help people learn and create this awareness of their own personal power and help them learn through joy as opposed to struggle like I did. And so that's another thing that really motivates me.
And what you're mentioning about some of the hardships you went through, a lot of times, and as I mentioned when I reached out to contacts that I had, particularly on Ladies Who Launch, where I connected with Elena, was asking, what is your compelling story? Because a lot of times people want to hear what people have gone through, including their struggles, because then they can relate to how it is to not always have it all together or, to be very much unsure. Is there anything about that you'd like, to share with the listeners that you think would be motivational for them to understand what it is to go through those hard times?
I just really, even as I was going through that struggle, it was very difficult at that time, because, you do start to, am I a failure? You start to second guess yourself. Mm-hmm. And I believe, just, my own personal faith and the support of friends and family, I just really still had this hope. I knew that I could recover. And so as I was looking for answers, I really identified my own path. And so anything that happens to you, you have to look at it as a lesson for learning and growth. Really, I teach people how to manifest and create money and attract abundance. But really, the biggest gain or the best thing about that is the spiritual growth and development that takes place. And so just knowing that getting there is really meaningful as being there. And so just never give up. You're not a failure until you fail to keep trying. I know it sounds cliched, but I know from my own personal experiences, I haven't always made the best choices, but I really do have a heart to help people, and I wanted to set a good example for my son so that he would realize that you can do whatever you want to do. And so just identifying the tools and the processes and the principles I need to leverage and harness in my own life and sharing those with others, that really motivates me. So even if, you make a mistake or something doesn't work out like you planned, that's how so many people who we deem as successful, that's how they evolved. That's how they got where they went. They did fail and struggle at certain things, but they didn't fail to continue to try. And so that would be what I would share with someone else.
Mm-hmm. And that's excellent. And I think that brings me to another of the questions that I wanted to make sure I asked each guest were, what are your lessons learned? What would you advise to someone else coming along to say, well, these are the pitfalls or things that I didn't see the first time through, but looking back and I can see these things that maybe I would have done differently. Does that also include, what you just were saying, or there's some other lessons that you learned along the way?
Absolutely. I've learned so many lessons, and one of the most significant is just identifying your belief system and understanding that you may have some limiting beliefs that can keep you from having the life you want. And so I always tell people to ask yourself this: your beliefs create your reality. So if you have something good in your life or some challenge or problem, what belief do you have that created that situation? And so then you can really do some self-examination and identify what is it that you believe. Some people believe that they can only make money by working hard and long and maybe not doing what they love, but you really are much more magnetic to money and abundance and joy when you're doing what you love because you're passionate about it. And so really identifying what you believe. Do you believe you can have a career, a business, a thriving business, even when the economy, the media is saying that the economy is bad? You can create your own personal environment of economic prosperity. And so really helping people to understand their beliefs so they can create beliefs that serve them well is fundamental. And then getting clear about what your motivation, your purpose, and your intent are. That's another lesson. I didn't have that clarity when I first started, and so I did encounter some struggles that now I don't think I would encounter those same struggles just because I have that awareness and that knowledge now.
Mm-hmm. And I think that you're touching on a lot of things that I have touched on in my coaching and in different coach training that I've taken that tells you really have to change a lot of your beliefs in order to have a certain amount of success, or even when you're coaching clients that you cannot come with certain ideas of who you think that person is. You have to ask the questions and not already think you know the answers. And
absolutely, yeah.
I think that's very important because, and you can speak on this as well. People already have some preconceived ideas of what their life will be about, and it can be very hard to break out of that. So I would say, what would be your advice to someone who just is not even sure, not even aware maybe of the thoughts that they have that may be keeping them, stuck in a certain place?
That's a great question. And one of the things that I tell people is really because I'm all about energy shifts and shifting your consciousness, is write down all the reasons why you can succeed. Because sometimes we're just so naturally bent to the opposite, why it can't work out or it didn't work out for this person, as opposed to just staying in your lane,
Yes.
and writing down the reasons. I even keep this piece of paper underneath my desk so that if I ever start thinking about this, I'm drawn to it, and it just reminds me, why can it work out just like you want it to? And so when you start to ask those questions, you really shift your thoughts, your consciousness, and you're much more open to being able to receive and then really live that life that you want to create for yourself. So that's definitely, why can you have what you want? What are all the reasons why you will succeed?
That's a great question. I like that a lot because we tend to always look at the negative.
Exactly.
We expect the negative result, or we base it on what happened to us in the past. So, of course, that will always happen again. What would you suggest as far as reinforcing these positive and, feelings that you're looking within and you're really changing the way you think? How does a person reinforce that every day to make sure they stay on the path?
Well, one of the things when I tell people, it's really about kind of rebuilding your subconscious. And so, even in my manifesting class, when you start this process of really moving in a different direction and this whole, this shift essentially in your belief system, is to keep track of your successes. start small. If it just means, you had success getting business cards or finding a good web hosting service for your website, keep track of those successes and put them someplace where you'll see them daily so that you can really build your subconscious belief in your ability to manifest and create the life you want. And remind yourself, because you can really bend towards the negative. But if you have that daily reminder of your successes and how you're moving forward, I tell people start where you're comfortable. Take that first step. What can you do today? And then keep track of those successes. I have paper pinned on my wall. I've got, push pins with paper all over my wall where I just keep track of things just so I'm always reminded of my goals, what I've accomplished, my next goal that I'm pursuing. And if you would keep track of your successes and those things that are going right for you and keep it someplace you can daily remind yourself that the universe really is loving and abundant and wants to work for you and with you, that's really how you begin this process of changing your beliefs and shifting your energy so that you can take that step to pursue your dream and leave corporate America or whatever it is you're doing to pursue your dream and your path.
Mm-hmm. That's fantastic, because I know for myself, when things are going good, a lot of times I forget to do the things that help to keep me on track. And then when they start drawing up, then I realize I wasn't continuing with my practice. So what you're saying about reinforcing your thoughts, that is so important, I think, because even once you get to that point, you have to make sure you stay there.
Exactly. So those visual reminders are just very powerful. And then when you're writing something down, you're engaging all four parts of your brain. And so writing your goals down, writing your ideas and successes really creates a mind, body, spirit experience. And so that's another thing I really recommend. One of my most favorite, and my friends are probably tired of me talking about this, but it works fabulously. So I'm always saying script. Write your life out the way you want it to be. If you had it your way, write it out in the present tense or the past tense as if it's already happened. Like you're the script writer for your life. And then you will see events unfold, people come into your life, and things happen that will really help you close the gap to wherever you want to be very easily and effortlessly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So what do you say, and I know you've already addressed this so well, what do you say to the person who has grown up with the whole idea that they must work hard for everything in life is a struggle? Have you encountered in your work, have you encountered people who are just very resistant to letting go of that idea?
I have, unfortunately.
Silly question, huh?
Yeah, I have, and it's a challenge because I can't believe it for them. They have to believe it for themselves. Mm-hmm. And so some people need to take those smaller steps. And so one of the things I recommend is, a lot of times people don't want to let go, or they have difficulty letting go of past beliefs or negative experiences. And, I remind them that you can't change where you are if you're looking back, or if you're just focused on what you have. You can never get anything different. And some people just need to take things, in small doses. So daily exercise. What are the good things that happened to you today? What are you thankful for? What are you appreciative for? What do you appreciate that happened today in your life? And so as you're in that position or thinking of what you're thankful for, what good things happen, you really raise your vibration. And so, I talk about the law of attraction. I teach the law of attraction. The law of attraction is just going to send you more thoughts to be thankful for. So if you could just do that small exercise, you'll really start to feel better and be more open to receive that inner guidance that really wants you to have the life you want to have. Those desires aren't there for no reason. You know, you have those desires because, you know, you were created to make this contribution. So if you can start there just by being thankful and looking at all the good things that are happening in your life, whether it's just, you know, I got, you know, some free time in the parking meter, or someone let me go ahead of them in the grocery store. And just once you start to observe how really good and loving the universe really is, then you can move forward into maybe some of the more, I don't know what the word is, but, you know, just that next level of changing beliefs and shifting your consciousness. So.
I've been also reading some things about when people feel that they don't see a result right away, it can be easy to feel like, well, I should give up. I'm not getting anywhere. And a friend of mine sent something out earlier that really helped me to see that you may not see that result in the way you're expecting, but it doesn't mean that you should give up. Have you had those circumstances where maybe something came to you a lot differently than you thought it would?
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, it's so funny that you asked that, is because when I teach manifesting, I teach people to not to necessarily get attached to having the specific form, but the essence of what they want. And so I think so often we are physically focused, and I really try to help people become more spiritually focused as opposed to what they see. And so if you can, are you open to letting what you want, the essence of what you come, in the best form possible? Are you open to that? And I ask people that. It's happened to me. You know, sometimes I think that, you know, I want, this is a perfect example. I was really fixated on getting a BMW X5. I was like, oh, this, you know, I love this car. You know, it's so cool, and, you know, I want this car. And then I went to visit a friend, and she had a Prius, a hybrid. And I was like, wow, this is really great. And so I had gotten attached to this specific form of, you know, I want this BMW. But then when I got in her car, I thought, wow, this is really not only great for me, but it'd be great for the environment. And, if, you know, if I'm this high, you know, level thinking person and thoughtful about the environment, I really need to think about that. And so that was the perfect thing that happened to me. And I really started thinking, okay, I need to start looking for hybrids. You know, I got to practice what I preach. And instead of really getting attached to the specific form of something, maybe that's the best way I could get the reliable transportation, which is the essence of what I wanted. So, yeah, I mean, just something as, you know, silly as that just really made me think about, oh, wow, I still do get attached to certain things when I need to just stay open to letting the universe bring the best possible thing to me. So.
Well, that's
great.
Yeah, yeah, that's a great answer because often we think something has to come a certain way, and then things may be coming to us and we don't even recognize them because it's not what we expected.
No, absolutely. Yeah.
I've found that to be the case myself in things that I've had come into my life, and what I'm, you know, really so interested in talking with you today is because when I was leaving corporate world myself, I wrote down what I wanted to see in my next job because I took a job as a contractor afterwards for a while and just put things down and said, okay, let's see what happens. I was very skeptical. And I think to test it out, I put down I want to work at a company where the building has a waterfall in the middle of it. And when it turned out that I got the job and all these things I put on the list came about, and believe it or not, there was a waterfall in the building. And when I saw that and looked back at my list, that's when I stopped being skeptical.
Right.
You know, because I thought it was proven to me that this thing I just put there just to see what would happen, and there it was. So I said, oh, okay. But what I find also is that we'll do that, and then we'll see evidence in our lives, and then we'll fall back into the old way of thinking. So what would you say to the people out there that you work with or you encounter who may have seen evidence, but then they don't continue?
Well, a couple of things. when you wanted this waterfall, but if you can get clear about the essence of what you want, then the essence of what you want can come in a lot of different ways. And so you really need to be clear about what it is that you want, because whatever it is we want it because how we think it'll make us feel, the quality that it'll bring into our life. And so I really help people, or I talk to people about getting clear about the essence of what it is that you want. And a lot of times it doesn't come necessarily the way you think it will, but the universe is going to bring you the essence of what you want much quicker and much easier than if you're fixated on a specific form. Another thing I tell people is when I'm teaching in my manifesting class that your past thoughts are real and they exist in time. And so as you start to create the new, or you start to have these new thoughts of the life you want to have, the business you want to have, you've got to give it 2 or 3 months so those new thoughts can gain momentum, because your thoughts are real, they're energy, and they do exist in time. And so you're talking about, are you going to make a quantum leap? In a lot of ways you can make a quantum leap. It just depends on your belief system or what you believe, but a lot of times things may take a little bit longer than you want. I mean, I'm no different than anybody else. I want things yesterday. But then you miss the spiritual growth and development, which is really the most important part of creating whatever it is that you are. And so if you would commit to focusing on what you want and focusing on the essence of it, as opposed to getting attached to, I have to get be in this office building with a water fountain. Maybe you have something even better. It might manifest where you're in office space and you're surrounded by water, which, may be even better than what you initially asked for. But just getting clear about the essence of what you want. What is the quality that you think it will bring into your life? And then knowing that as you're shifting your thoughts and you're attempting to create something new, you do have to give those new thoughts time to manifest. And so I tell people, you think about something and you think about it, and once it reaches critical mass, it will manifest in your life. So you want to believe that the process works. Keep track of your small successes so you're not so easy to give up on the process, and then allow the growth, that development to take place. That's really the most important component of whatever it is that we're trying to create, that spiritual growth and development that takes place. Some things you will manifest very quickly, and other things may take a little bit longer, but things are happening even if you don't see them. So if you would just commit to focusing on them, believing in yourself, and staying clear about the essence of what it is that you want to create, then you'll really start to see things happen in your life so very quickly and so easily that you will be amazed at how easy it is to deliberately create a life that you want.
And that's fantastic. I like what you're saying about that. I'll keep that in mind for myself as well. So I certainly will. But I also want to know, as far as the business part of things, I know a lot of times when people think of business, they think business plan, and a lot of times they don't hear anything else. They don't hear about the marketing. They don't hear about just having to really believe in your vision. What would you say as far as your experiences doing the business side and getting that going? Anything you'd like to share with the listeners?
Oh, yeah, I'm because I am this metaphysical teacher and energy teacher, I tend to do things from a non-traditional approach. And so I always recommend the scripting. And the scripting has really helped me attract into my life whatever it is I need to know or do or have to build my business and attract people to my business. And so, for instance, I might write out, I'm so glad I attracted free and low-cost marketing tools and resources to gain great exposure for my business. And I would do that, and I would just keep writing that and make a commitment to continue to script that, because when you're writing, you're so powerfully attracted. and things would fall into my lap. It would just be so amazing. I mean, it's less amazing now because I know this is how the process works. I know what's happening. But sometimes I'm still caught, I have to catch myself like, wow, if I had only known this when I was a teenager. And so, I found really great, affordable ways to get exposure for my business. And so if you get clear about what it is you want, what that end picture looks like, one of the things that I'll ask people is imagine you have your ideal business now and you're successful. How is your life different because of it? And that forces them to, I can't think of a softer word besides force, but it really compels them to look at the end result of what they want. What does your business look like? It's a year later, you're successful. What does your business look like? And it causes people to really think about the type of business they want, how they want to get exposure, how they picture it, the type of customers they want. And so if you would do that work, you will start to attract, the great resources, the right people to coach you and mentor you. I mean, I've just found some really great resources, but that was my intention. So if it's your intention to have a business or launch a business, you do need to market, and you don't necessarily have to do things in a traditional way to start. I never did do a traditional business plan, but I did write out exactly what I wanted my business to look like and what I was going to be offering as far as products and services and the people I wanted to work with and the type of customers that I had, what their interest and qualities were. And that was a much more powerful way for me to, and it's free, and it's very authentic because it's coming from the heart. And I think if people would do that, they would really see that, business plan can be a little intimidating,
Yeah.
if you're, not familiar with the software, if you don't have all the answers. So I'm not saying it's not beneficial, but you can start someplace else that's much more authentic and from the heart and really paint that picture, create that vision. And then you just move into it, really. And so that's what I would recommend. That's worked for me tremendously.
That sounds great. So what are some of your services that you offer with your business?
Well, I do teleclasses quite a bit. They're very convenient because I can connect with people all over the world, and I do, and so that's really great. So I do teleclasses. I do coaching. Right now I'm working on a couple of books and e-books, and I'm also getting ramped up to start doing workshops regionally and nationally. So those are, yeah.
So what will some of your workshops be about? Do you have anything put together as far as topics right now?
Oh, yeah. They will be pretty much similar to the teleclasses. One of my favorite teleclass series that I offer is called Creating Money and Attracting Abundance, and it's a very, very powerful series, and it's based on the book by the same name. So definitely, I feel like everyone, especially dealing with the environment we're in now, where it appears that there's not a lot of certainty and stability in the financial market and the job market, and if you focus on that, it can really hinder your progress. And so this really just helps you understand that you create your own environment of economic prosperity, and that when you're on your path, you're much more inclined to be prosperous and abundance and attract money and really have a joyful, fulfilling life. So that's probably one of the workshops that I'll be offering initially. So, yeah.
Well, that sounds great.
Yeah, it's great. It's my favorite.
I think that's so perfect, especially now that people are so worried about money and, just the whole entire environment. They're just not sure what to think of what's going on. But that brings me to a question, I just thought of. What do you think as far as a lot of times negative advertising that some people will use in order to get people to work with them? I read a blog that I get, and the person was asking different people in business whether that advertising appealed to them or not. I'm just wondering, we're talking so much about law of attraction and abundance, and I know some people will use that in a negative way to scare people. And, what, do you have any thoughts on that?
That's not what I choose to attract people. I mean, obviously, I'm all about energy and harmonizing, through energy and vibration. And so when you're wanting to attract people, a lot of times people want to take physical action before they really get clear and they really do their energy work. And so I don't feel that doesn't work for me. Now, if it works for someone else, maybe so, but I don't feel like that's the joyful way to do it, And so what I talk to people about is getting clear about who your customers are. Everyone is not your customer. Who are your customers? What are their qualities? What are their interests? How do you serve them? When you're serving people, you're just in a much, different vibration, and you're really open to receiving a lot of good things. And so I'm teaching people or attracting people to my business based on what I've defined as my customer, who I am in vibrational match with. How do I serve them? How do I feel about them, working with them? And I tell people to paint a picture of you interacting with them. And so then it becomes more clear and more, it feels better, and you don't have to use fear. I just don't think that, I just could never advocate that, especially teaching what I teach.
Right.
I'm teaching people to move away from fear and to raise and elevate their vibration. And there's just a much more joyful, natural, organic way to do it, so that you are attracting the right people to your business or the right resources to your business. And that's how I do it, getting clear about what is it that I really want, who do I serve, and what are their interests. And so I know my customers are spiritually minded people. They're people that know that there is a better way, but they may not know exactly how to get there. And so those are some of the qualities or interests of the customers I serve. And so I don't feel that you need to market or promote using fear tactics, because I just think that's counterproductive.
And I totally agree with what you're saying. I find it to be a turnoff, but I think I've become more aware of it since I started a business. When you read other marketing materials, I'm much more tuned in to what they're doing. And I do see, unfortunately, a share of that, which I think just plays into feelings people have already that generally will defeat them. So I totally agree with what you're saying, and I think it's a very, very positive way to look at it, and it's going to help also. It's not just words, it's real.
If you're about empowering people, I mean, that's who I am, that's what I do. I could never plant seeds of fear, because that would just be in total contradiction to what it is I'm trying to do. So that would never work.
No, really, I like that. I like how you said that, and especially about people sometimes who act before they really even have an idea of what they're trying to get to.
Absolutely.
I think, that really is important to note, because a lot of times I know for myself, I just want to do something, and you're running around, and you don't know what you're going to do, but it's the activity.
Exactly.
I don't have a vision, but I want to do something.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's why I tell people that clarity will save you time, energy, and money. So get clear. You can create more with a pen and a paper than you can ever create, buying software or anything. Wow. I mean, you can be led to the right resources, but if you would just take the time and get clear and write out that picture of what you want your life to look like, whether it's, your health or your relationships or your finances or your business or career, it's just, it's a complete shift. And I believe people are ready for that. They're looking for that.
Yeah, I know I was. So that's what brought me here. So I think from what I've encountered is a lot of people who are ready to hear something and find a different way.
Absolutely.
Well, we have about 5 minutes left, and I want to ask you, what advice would you give to a woman who's listening and wants to start her own business one day?
What advice? Like I said before, I would, number one, what is it that you're passionate about? Because that is, an indication of what you came here to do. So, being clear and knowing what you're passionate about. And if you start with the end in mind, or writing that script out, what would your ideal business look like? If you could just take the time to write that out, and get very clear about that, and then move from there. Do you see other people doing what you do or what you'd like to do, or similarly, what are they doing that you like? And identify how to integrate those resources or tools or whatever it is they're using into your own business. But if you would start by, number one, knowing that you can have your ideal business, your dream business, that's important. You came here to make that special mark or contribution that no one else can make, and to believe in yourself and keep track of your incremental successes, like I said. But if you would start with that vision, if you had your ideal business now, how would your life be different? Describe how your life would look. So if you would do that energy work, how does it feel? You want to pursue something that you can generate some excitement about, because that excitement, those strong emotions really propel your creative thoughts from your inner world to your outer world. And that's how you create things quickly. And I'm sure most people want things to happen fast, like I do. So if you would focus on those things that you're really excited about, that you're passionate and move you, that you can generate excitement about, that's where you're going to have tremendous success, and you're going to be much more magnetic to customers and abundance and money when you are doing what you love and you're passionate about. So if you could get that picture, you may not know all the details, but write out as many details as it is comfortable for you. And what does their ideal business look like, and how is your life different now? If you could start there, then, you've done a big portion of your work. And then people will come into your life, circumstances will happen, things will fall into your lap to help you get there. And focus. If you could focus daily, if you could start your day and, make that the first thing you do, something towards your business or whatever it is that you're trying to create. If you would commit to that, make it your intention and your priority, and make it the first thing or nearly the first thing you do in the morning, and commit to it every day, you would be amazed at how quickly you will start to close the gap and be living this vision or this life that you want to have.
Mm-hmm. That's fantastic. I think that's great. I love how you put that, and that is so inspirational. And I know that I'm inspired, so I hope our listeners were too. So, Elena, I want to thank you so much for joining me today. This was fantastic, and I'm so pleased you could be with me on the first show.
I'm so thankful and appreciative that you allowed me to participate with this. This is really exciting.
Yes, I'm so glad. I hope everybody has really been inspired by listening to Elena today, because it's just been wonderful. I love hearing all of her wonderful advice and her story. Please visit her site, elenacamp.com, find out more about her services. And my next show will be Friday at 12 noon, where my guest will be Vanessa Torres, who launched a site called thathappenedtome.com, which is dedicated to helping women through difficult breakups. You can join us live or listen to the recorded show. Once again, this is Deborah Bailey, and you've been listening to Women Entrepreneurs, The Secrets of Success. Have a great day. Bye-bye now.